evening, we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paolo De Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. Watch the game live and their past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, we're almost there. In just a few days, the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 will kick off in host countries Indonesia, Japan, and of course, the Philippines.
Yes, sir.
With that comes a decision who will represent Gilas Pilipinas in the Final 12 lineup. Here, not to answer those questions, because we are going to talk about, well, we talked about the guards last week. Now let's take a look at the marksmen of Gilas Pilipinas with basketball analyst Tyler Tio and Coach Willie Wilson. Guys, thank you very much for being here, not to answer the hard
Welcome
questions.
back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, we love hard questions.
Yeah, so you're willing to answer the Final
Nope.
12? No, right?
Nope.
See? Yeah.
Nope.
We're not gonna go there.
We're not going to go there, not at all. So, Tyler, we have you here in particular because we want to talk about shooters 1st. And when you take a look at shooters on the international stage, before we name those particular shooters that we want to talk about, what makes a good shooter at a FIBA level?
What makes a good shooter? Well, for me, first thing I look at is the quickness of his release. And second, of course, is size. I mean, at the international level, even if you have a quick release, if you're small, everyone's going to be able to contest your shot from far away. So those are the two things I look at. But obviously, given the percentage, diba? So those are two things that are crucial for me. But in this day and age, it can't only be catch and shoot.
Right.
It has to be off the dribble na rin, off screens, off ball screens. So yeah.
Of course, it's crucial for Tayo because that's how he makes a living,
I was
right?
gonna say.
Well, he left one key thing out
What
of
is that,
there.
Coach?
Something that you're very, very good at: range.
Yeah.
Ooh, the range.
Range.
Range is important, especially
Range,
in the
for sure,
FIBA tournament. But Coach, I just want to ask your pick your brain. In the FIBA tournament, how important is shooting? Especially with a defensive 3-second compared to the NBA where you can't stay in the paint for the whole defensive possession, Coach.
I think it's equally as important as having size. Again, we're talking about international basketball where you can zone. Teams will want to pack the paint, especially when we're talking about the premier athletes on the world stage. You don't want to give up points in the paint. Now, how do you bring them out? You got to have shooting. And like I said, range is so important because we're talking about guys that are probably going to be averaging 6'4" to 6'8", long wingspans, being able to cover so much ground. And if you can't shoot it and shoot it with range, then they're just going to pack the paint against you.
Let's talk about a guy here that will probably take the most shots, take the farthest shots as well. Jordan Clarkson, we're going to start off with him. You take a look at the type of shooter he is. I would say that he's a volume shooter. I think it's fair to say, right?
Very well, pal. You're a Utah Jazz.
No, I mean, like in general, we've seen his profile, but can you describe him as a shooting threat?
Well, you said it best. He's a volume shooter, but the good thing about volume shooters is if they get hot, then they can win a game for you. But at the same time, the opposite is true. If they get cold, they could lose a game for you. But that's where I think the other players of Gilas have to step in to kind of create shots for Clarkson because he's a good catch and shoot player too.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be all him creating one-on-one or pull-ups off ball screens. He can catch and shoot too.
When you talk about Jordan Clarkson, he's also a creator, but you mentioned, him being set up by his teammates. What kind of shots do you think Jordan Clarkson's going to be seeing here in the FIBA World Cup? Especially the different defenses that will be thrown at him.
Probably a lot of looks off, obviously the dribble drive.
Right.
So, maybe stuff like when the weak side helps, hit him in the corner. So it's those little things that, make a basketball team successful, those reads. I think he's going to be perfect for that.
All right, so the list that Tyler gave actually contains 4 players. So R.R. Pogoy, Kiefer Ravenna, and Ray Parks. And with that, Coach Willie, are there any names here in particular that you're most interested in knowing more about in terms of shooting on the FIBA level? Because we all know that all Pogoy, Ravenna, and Parks are all great shooters in their own right. But then how do you see that translate into this World Cup stage?
Well, definitely we've seen RR light it up. We've seen Ray Parks light it up. The thing for me though is size-wise, Kiefer, what position do we see Kiefer at? We know he can play the 1, but in my opinion, he's more comfortable at the 2 spot. He's more ball dominant, and him being in the international stage, he's going to have to move to the 1. So can he be an effective 1 in the international stage and still be able to shoot it effectively? As we heard what Tyler said, having size, being able to shoot over those taller defenders internationally, that's going to be key.
Ty, what do you see there? He'll have the ball handling duties, the playmaking duties, but then how does he function as a shooter with all of that?
Well, my thinking was Jordan Clarkson's going to have the ball majority of the time, right? So he's going to be the one creating. Kiefer's going to get open looks, so that's where I see him fitting as a shooter. But at the same time, the same goes for Kiefer. He's a good pick and roll player, so he can also set up Jordan Clarkson, right?
And very different shooters, actually, the ones you mentioned here. And if you take a look at R.R. Pogoy, very different when you compare him to Kiefer Avena or Ray Parks. What kind of a shooter is R.R. Pogoy in your eyes, Ty?
He's the kind of shooter that you just can't leave open, man. Catch and shoot.
Right.
If he's open, list it. Catch and shoot, one dribble pull-ups off pump fakes. What else? Fadeaways, mid-range fadeaways. Those kinds of shots, that's how he makes his money.
So it's usually like, off the catch, off the pass, R.R. Pogoy, great reads off of that. But Coach, talk about Ray Parks. He can create his own shot, but he can also be a spot-up shooter for Gilas.
Well, I see a lot of similarities between Ray and RR, as we know that they were teammates on that Talking Tech squad. But coming off of kickbacks, that paint attack, you have Ray in the corner, kicking it up to him, catching it at the wing, very, very deadly. And if you close out long, he can take it to the rack, and we know how strong he is attacking the basket. So him being able to shoot it with range, but also the strength to attack the basket, finish inside. We know that he has already experience playing against much bigger players. He played back in the day for Texas in the G League, back when it was still called that. So the physicality will definitely not be a problem for Ray Parks.
Coach, you mentioned the strength and how underrated is the strength that you need when you talk about R. Pogoy and Ray Parks, because those two guys are strong, able to bang inside, able to drive, able to drag defenders along with them. Just how important is that in a shooter's arsenal?
We're talking about guys leaning on you as you're trying to get open, probably coming off of screens, guys that may be 2, 3, 4 inches taller than you, old man strength, guys that played EuroLeague basketball, playing as imports in other leagues. So the strength there is a strength that you can't even find in the weight room. Yep. And that's what these guys are going to have to go against, and still be able to find the balance on the catch to set up and knock down that shot.
Does Tyler have the strength?
Oh, he has more than enough.
I got the strength.
He's got more than enough of that.
Well, since we're talking about shooting, I'm loving this, topic. It's all about shooting, but
of course you do,
right? And Ty, in the FIBA tournament, right? You're talking about high-level talent, right? And it just takes one good shooting night from the three-point line to get a win and to get an upset. So how important is it for Gilas to really shoot the lights out, especially these 3 games from the outside? Now, I'm not just saying the whole field goal, but specifically the three-point shot.
Jex, now more than ever is the time for us to get hot. So these 3 games, let's just pray, man.
Hey, put some mittens on those hands.
Keep it in the pockets.
Keep them in the pockets.
It's gonna make or break us.
I'm really curious because the shooting is going, I feel it's going to be an issue at least at Philippine Arena, because the depth of field is just so different for the shooters. Like we've heard from Malapi Bay players that they had to adapt. I wanted to throw a curveball and Tyler and ask him about AJ Edu as a shooter. But fortunately, we're out of time. We're going to talk about AJ Edu later. Now we're going to move on to a little break because we have a lot more to talk about.
Right. So the basketball is not just offense. We're going to talk about Coach Willie's favorite part of the game. Because after the break, we'll shift to the other side of the floor as we take a look at the defenders in the Gilas pool. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back, you're watching The Game. We talked about offense, now let's shift to the other side of the floor as we take a look at the defenders of Gilas Pilipinas. Still with us to break it all down, our basketball analysts, Tyler Tio and Coach Willie Wilson. Let's start it off with you, Coach Willie, because you're well known as a stopper. You can probably stop Tyler in practice.
Hey,
Not
when
known
he
as a
just
defender?
joined the team.
no.
When he just joined the team.
Ty can play pretty good defense, but Coach Willie's on a different level. Coach Willie, how important, of course, defense wins championship. We always say that, but can you explain to us why in a short tournament like the FIBA World Cup, defense should be the #1 priority?
Well, you talked about it earlier, getting hot, it in a short amount of time. If you can prevent other teams from doing that against us, I think you put yourself on a very, very good path to being successful, to winning games and putting on a good showing for the home fans.
Yep.
Again, you don't want to let these teams get comfortable out there, and these names that I got on that list should be the ones that would that have the ability, in my opinion, to do just that.
This is basically a Willie wish list.
Yeah, it is a Willie wish list. And of course, I just want to let everyone know at home that we were going to bring in Mikey Reyes to join us, si Tito Mikey. But then when he found out the defense yung topic, umalis siya.
Yeah.
So Tyler Tio here is going to talk to us about how it feels to be defended by a Chris Newsome. Because Chris Newsome is one of the names mentioned here. And a lot of people know Chris for being able to handle the ball, being able to make sure the offense hums. But then defensively, he's been used as a primary defender for Gilas. How does it feel being wrapped around Chris Newsome press?
It's tough, man. It's tough because the thing about Chris is the athleticism is given, the size obviously at the guard position is given, but the underrated thing about him is his smarts. He's a super smart player. He knows the schemes. He knows scouting reports. So I think at the international level, that's super important.
Personally, what I love seeing from this Gilas version of Nunu is because in Meralco, he's not even a full court pressure type of guy because he plays 30, 40 minutes.
Right.
But now you see Newsome pressuring full court, pressuring the guards, and you love to see it. I mean, it's something that New hasn't been doing a very long time, and he's showing us why he's such a pest on defense. Coach, your other players here on this list, very different from how Chris Newsome affects the game because they're long, they're athletic.
Right.
Let's start it off with Japet Aguilar, Coach.
Perennial defensive player of the year candidate in the PBA. We know that he's a scheme wrecker. I call him from the weak side. You just put him on the weak side. Even actually as a primary defender, I think he's also very, very tough. But the ability to get up in the air quickly and repeatedly blocking shots, challenging shots, chasing down offensive players, trying to get to the basket. That's what Japet Aguilar brings to the table. As long as he's locked in and with all that international experience that he possesses, dating all the way back to Gilas 1, actually Gilas 0.5, the pre Marcus Douthit era, he gives us so much.
Yeah, Japet is one of the best help defenders that the PBA has seen in a very long time.
That's why I shoot threes, pal. I don't even drive or whatever.
Yeah, you shouldn't drive when Japet's there. But you take a look at Japet being a good secondary defender. But what is Kai Soto? A lot of people are still asking that question. What type of defender he is? Is he the type of guy that you feel could handle those big post-ups by himself, or do you need to send another guy there? When you take a look at Kai, what is he?
I think actually having Kai there behind Japet kind of gives you another added luxury. At 7'2", from what I've seen, he has the ability to play on the ball, but he's equally as disruptive playing off the ball as a secondary defender, and that's where we're talking about having these other bigs, these other international bigs that are very ball dominant. You have the luxury to put a Japet Aguilar on the ball, knowing that you'll have a Kai Soto at 7'2", being able to just be the human eraser for whatever gets thrown at the rim.
Right. I mean, Ty, I want to ask you a question when it comes to playing against players like Kai because, you had a teammate named Ange Kwame. You've played with him every single day in college, probably very similar to how Kai affects the game. How does that affect you, knowing that there's a 7-footer inside the paint waiting for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge difference, man, because it gives you the confidence to press up and to just know that if you get beat, there's someone that's gonna, have your back.
Right.
Someone's gonna be there to protect the paint, and that allows perimeter defenders to get up closer, to pressure, and it's just huge, man.
And that's
Big
on
difference.
defense. But
Yeah.
if you're the offensive player, let's
you're
say in
attacking.
practice, you're against Ange Kwame's team or like,
Yeah.
a Kai Soto in there.
Yeah, same goes for offense. I mean, if you're attacking a shot blocker, obviously you're gonna think twice, man. You're gonna look for that drop pass. You're
Right.
gonna go for those floaters that, just a few percentage points down from an open layup. Diba?
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. And you take a look at perimeter defense this time, and we have to talk about Jamie Malonzo because people have toyed with the idea of playing him at the 4, making him defend 1
see it,
through
though.
4,
Why not?
and a help defender on the 5. You talk about versatility, Coach Willie, and is that the biggest factor here for Jamie?
Okay, versatility, capability. Yes, he is capable of defending 1 through 4, possibly even a small 5. Would that be the best thing for him and for the team? I don't think so. Not when you have a Kai Soto, not when you have a Japeth Aguilar and a Junmar. These guys, and especially in AJ Edu, these guys are going to need to be on the floor. Now, putting Jamie Malonzo at the 4 takes away minutes from these guys. I feel that him at the 3 and a little bit at the 2 puts us in a better position defensively to chase and just be athletic at that position because, again, you want to compete athletically on the international stage. And having a Jamie Malonzo at 6'7", world-class athleticism gives us exactly that.
Well, basically, Jamie's there to disrupt. That's what you're trying to say, Coach. But as a fan, I'm just waiting for Jamie to have a chase down block and just,
Or a breakaway,
or
that
a breakaway
breakaway windmill dunk.
and just fire up the whole home crowd in maybe
That would
in
be
Philippine
wild.
Arena,
Yes,
right? But
sir. That'd be
you Ty, you went up against. I mean, you play against Jamie Malonzo in the PBA, and he's probably matched up with you because you're the main guy for your team, and Jamie's one of the stoppers too for his team.
You want to acknowledge
How does
you want to acknowledge that?
Let Jex do all the talking.
how does Jamie
Keep going,
affect?
keep going.
How does Jamie? Why is Jamie such a great defender? You personally, I mean, you can
Well,
explain it to us.
My experience personally, when they put Jamie on me, it allowed them to switch ball screens. So, once you switch the ball screen, you can't go to anything else but either an isolation or to the post. But he has the size to bang in the post.
Right.
And, you don't want to go isolation the whole game because it's not the most effective thing to do. So
Even though
that's
you
the
are
advantage.
even though you are good at that.
He is.
Even though he is
That
good
is
at
a
that.
bucket.
Coach Jamaic.
This is such a loving show. I don't know how we became this way. But Coach Willie, before we let you guys go, we talked about 4 guys on defense. But then, in general, Gilas have improved defensively. At least it looks a lot different,
Right.
especially after we watched them in China. You take a look at the importance of being able to switch in this day and age. You take a look at the names that you mentioned. Do you feel that all these guys are able to keep up with the more high-octane offense that we've seen in FIBA recently?
Oh, definitely, especially having an internationally experienced Kai Soto, knowing that in the international game, it's similar to what our Gilas is going to be facing here. He's had experience playing on the perimeter, defensively, offensively. So him having that experience, and then Japeth being so mobile, the athletes with Newsome and Malonzo, that's right there, puts us on a very, very good path to be able to switch defensively.
Coach, Ty, we really appreciate you both being here. We're going to hear a lot more from you during the FIBA Basketball World Cup,
Yes,
including
sir.
the lead-up of the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
Can't wait.
There's going to be so much basketball in the next couple of weeks. I'm so
wait.
excited.
Love
You have
it.
no idea.
Everyone loves
Yep.
it. pal.
Really appreciate the both of you. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Now, more FIBA updates after the break. Keep it here. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to the game. Preparations for the FIBA Basketball World Cup are in full swing as fans anticipate the biggest basketball event of the year. The SM Mall of Asia Arena, chosen for the final phase of the event, has undergone extensive upgrades and improved amenities. This includes new players' entrance, seats, media tribunes, and a VIP lounge for ambassadors like Yao Ming, Dirk Nowitzki, and Pau Gasol. Traffic coordination has also been ensured for a smooth experience. Fans can also check out fun shops and souvenirs that will also be available in the venue. On August 24, the second day of the FIBA Congress 2023 will be held at the Sofitel Philippine Plaza, Manila. This will be preceded at the World Cup and bring together global delegates to discuss the future of basketball. With these preparations, the country is all set to shine on the world stage as it hosts the biggest basketball event of the year. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
Catch us weeknights here on One News and on the Pilipinas Live app, where you can watch us live and our past episodes on demand for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store. I'm Paulo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game.